The age-old great Australian dream is back at the front and centre of this election campaign, with housing access for first home buyers a major focus at both major party launches yesterday. But the new Australian nightmare of government debt and deficits as far as the eye can see is the real undercurrent of this election that's not being addressed, with Labor's spend-a-thon being matched by the coalition. Eventually, someone will have to pay for all of this, but this is all we're getting from our politicians for now.
All our costs will be out there fully. We put our budget down just a couple of weeks ago. We, unlike the former government, have had savings, $95 billion of them. We've improved the budget bottom line by $207 billion.
No, they didn't. He keeps delivering these economic furphies. The trick that Labor uses to justify them is they compare the outcomes with old budget forecasts. But back onto election funding promises, here's Peter Dutton too.
As I say, all of that detail is provided in the due course in the run-up to the election. What we've said is that we're not supporting Labor's wasteful spending, because I don't want inflation to go up, and a big spending Labor Greens government is going to drive up the cost of inflation, and the cost of interest rates are higher always under Labor. Now, this is the biggest spending government in 40 years. They are the biggest spending government because Labor can't help themselves. They always tax, they spend.
Yeah, we'll all have to wait for the election costings from both sides. In the end, they'll be largely formulaic at the end of the campaign. The real point is that the fiscal emergency this nation confronts, the structural deficits in the budget, the runaway spending, it's just not being tackled in the election debate or in the policy mix. Maybe Australia's luck will never run out, or maybe it will. Still, for now, the contest is around the policies on offer, and both parties have unveiled new tax giveaways. Labor allowing for a $1,000 tax offset for everyone, the coalition a $1,200 offset for anyone on an income under $144,000 a year. On housing, both parties promised to expand access to the coalition-initiated scheme that provides a government guarantee of 5% deposits for first home buyers. Labor is also spending an extra $10 billion on building low-cost housing, even after admitting late last year that its original scheme had failed to build a single house by then.
The Housing Australia Future Fund, they're going to get rid of it. That's about increase. There are currently 28,000 homes, social housing, either under construction or in planning, waiting approvals. And that's about increasing supply as well. So across a range of areas, if you increase supply at the same time as you're doing something about demand, that's the key. And that's why every state premier and chief minister signed off on the incentive that's there for 1.2 million homes to be built.
But Peter Dutton revealed an ace up his sleeve yesterday with a policy that will significantly reduce the financial stress on first home buyers. His scheme will allow those building their first home to claim their interest payments as a tax deduction for 5 years.
It kills me when you hear young Australians just saying, I'm working hard. We're both working hard. We're putting money aside. We just can't afford. We don't think we're ever going to be able to afford a home. That's the common story. Now, I'm not going to accept that as Prime Minister of this country. I want to make sure that we can do everything we can, if we're fortunate enough to win the election, to restore that dream of home ownership. And this is the way that we can do it.
This could be a crucial policy for the Liberals, and I need to confess I had a hand in this, suggesting they look at it some months ago when I was having a policy discussion about options with a senior Liberal strategist. You see, the superannuation policy the Liberals have, allowing people to use up to $50,000 of their own super savings, money they should have control over, to help them get into the housing market, to help them raise a deposit. Well, it's a great policy, but the trouble is that most first home buyers are young and therefore don't have much super. So it's long struck me that the tax system is the best way for governments to help. Again, you're helping people get ahead by using their own money. Home loan interest is deductible in various ways in the United States and a host of European nations. So it's not a new idea, but it's a turning point in Australian housing policy.
Vote for your Liberal candidate at the next election. You will, as a first home buyer, have an opportunity for the first time to get more of your own money back and to provide support through the tax system to help you service your loan. This is a game changer for young Australians.
There will be economists that argue helping more people into the market will only push prices up. Yet one key point here is that housing prices keep going up regardless, and that's a good thing, of course, for homeowners. And besides, just about any measure to help first home buyers will draw that criticism. It's true the states and local governments need to do far more to allocate land and shake up planning arrangements to boost supply. But helping younger people tackle the increasingly difficult task of buying their first home is clearly a bipartisan aim. Both sides want to encourage home ownership, the great Australian dream. The coalition approach, as is fitting for their ideology, involves government taking less of your money, allowing you to use more of your income and your super to buy the house you want. Labor's approach, as is true to their ideology, involves spending more of your tax dollars on schemes that will supply what they want to supply, eventually. It's pretty obvious what approach would be more likely to work. You could bet the house on it.